get this squatty chair out here. That's much better.
Are we ready? Okay, this is the DDD Design Committee public meeting, Thursday, July 6, 2023, 9 a.m. in the Hammond City Council chambers. Will you please call the roll?
Here.
Here.
Michelle Juneau.
Here.
Tom Pastorius. Cassie Reagan.
Here.
Jeffrey Smith.
You.
All right, the first item of old business is approval of the meeting minutes from June 8, 2023. They are in your packet. Does anybody have questions or comments? Corrections?
Just a comment, Michelle, in the link, the hyperlink, when you send out the agenda, I couldn't access the minutes. They were in some kind of Google world that I don't have access to.
The same thing I always say. Google.
The other things I could access, I just couldn't access the minutes for some reason.
I linked it to a folder. I don't know why that was. I'll look into it.
I just was asking for,
One question I've had is that on y'all's end, is that an easy way to access information? Through the Google.
Yeah.
I think for the people who can access it, it is, but for the people who can't, then no.
like me.
Yeah, so if,
Is that a problem on your iPhone or at the office?
At the
Can you
office,
do it at the
just
office?
ask for a Google account, which I don't have, and, I don't
Yeah,
want to
it
have.
does that sometimes,
Yeah, maybe we can look at some other Dropbox things. That's
like a Gmail account, yeah.
Google.
I hate Google. I can't ever get on it.
But I've been
Okay.
taught to stop, don't open anything because you're gonna ruin your computer. I've been instructed by the tech people, don't open that. So I'm afraid to open anything and start an account. So anyway, that's,
okay, so that aside, anybody have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of June 8th.
Second.
sorry.
Yes.
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 All right, our next and last item of old business is review of sidewalk reimbursement program guidelines and application. So basically, we're just putting this out here again to see if anybody has any additional comments. We did go to the board with it, but we didn't vote on it yet. We want to review this with the city and get their input before we finalize it, if we can get that done before our next board meeting. If we can't, then we may just go ahead and put this together and then obviously be subject to change when and if we get comments from the city. So it's basically the same thing it's the revisions to the comments from our last design committee meeting. So it probably is the first time you guys have seen it.
It was all supposed to print on the 2 pages, so we've got another formatting thing to figure out, but otherwise it's all the information we talked about before. I did edit the map a little bit so that it was grayed out. Obviously it's black and white on here, but it's in color on the actual application. And
Michelle?
then the additional, I think there was something that we talked about last time, but this is just an updated version.
We talked about them presenting an estimate at the very beginning of the process so that y'all kind of have an idea.
Yes.
And I see that as total sidewalk cost, but isn't that more towards the end on this form, the sidewalk application? Is that an estimated construction cost?
Yes. So, if you think we should change the way that we say it, we can.
I would call it estimated sidewalk cost or something, just because it's really what it is, an estimate, it's not the actual construction cost. It just we talked about last time, but giving you an opportunity to be able to start budgeting for it, you know, if you knew going in at the application phase of it, what the numbers were gonna be. That's all I have on that.
Mhm.
I think it's good that we're formalizing this, because it's been loosey-goosey up to this point, you know, of how it's happening. I just see this number under the application process, which seems rather lengthy, which I'm sure it probably needs to be, but execution of cooperative endeavor agreement. Who's that with?
With the city.
The city, the owner, and the DDD?
Mm-hmm.
That's never been done before, so I don't know what that's gonna,
I think it's always been done after the fact.
oh, has it? Okay. Thank you.
Is that true?
Yeah, so upon the PD and council approving for spending funds towards the sidewalk project, the cooperative endeavor agreement was basically done as a supporting document to the execution of that payment. So part of the, and I don't know if you have experience signing one of them. since
I
you-
don't, that's why I'm asking. I've done it.
But it is a piece of, it is one agreement that is in the check request supporting document, so it's usually done on the back end.
Yeah, we may have done, I shouldn't remember, so, that was a while ago.
I have one other comment, I guess, after I've looked at this application process. Should they, at some point further along in the process, although we're asking for estimated construction costs early on, they should submit at some point, as part of this process, the actual bids? Shouldn't they? Because there's going to be a difference between estimated construction costs and actual construction costs. Or is that not?
No, yeah, you're right. We talked about at the last meeting that we would like to see, and so maybe this application process is by stages. Because we did ask to see it in the design phase prior to construction documents with a design phase cost estimate for the work. And then when they put their application together, they may not have gone out to construction yet. So it would still be, like Roy said, an estimate at that point. But then after the project is bid, they should know what those numbers are and be able to give us what the actual amount is. And the cooperative endeavor is usually after the fact, after everything's complete, and the city knows exactly, they want to know exactly what the final amount is before they enter into a cooperative endeavor, right?
Right, so the idea was we would be entering a cooperative endeavor agreement before payment is being given to the.
Will the city will do that?
So the cooperative endeavor agreement basically just says, we are entering into this agreement with this amount. It
Okay.
doesn't- basically the
'Cause
way
otherwise they
it
wouldn't do
works
it.
is like, oh, we kind of needed
It's
to
gotta
have
be a
cooperative
construction
endeavor
amount, not
agreement
a
on
estimated
file
amount.
to put this money out there. And so it's just been like a formality since it has been a structured process.
I think if nothing else, we need to talk to Lacey or whoever with City of Hammond to determine if that can feasibly be done before we approve an application, because they're going to need to know.
You're gonna need to know it.
Yeah,
Sure.
they're going to need to know. They're not going to want to wait till the end of the project to know, oh, yeah, okay, we're going to do a third. Well, no, I understand that, but if we're going to put it in our application process, that we won't agree to it until then, and we can't get that done until, we just may have to reorganize the steps.
I think that makes sense.
Okay.
I'll have to think about, I guess logistically, where some of these pieces would fit into the design phase. You're thinking like design phase, bid phase, and then construction?
Design or even, yeah, design phase, permit, when they go for their permit, and then what would need to happen after they get their bids in. So I think it's a stage thing, but we have to determine, I suppose, when we're going to approve it. You know, are we going to base that on,
Because this is generally after not after it's happened, but it's a reimbursement of what you've just.
It's reimbursement after the fact.
So you kind of got to know a few things before, way before this.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed to me you'd want the
It
bids
almost needs to be
before
a-
the DDD Board of Directors and the City Council meeting, because they're going to be
Mm-hmm.
voting on
Actual
the
amount.
dollars.
Yeah,
So somewhere in that process, you got to go from preliminary design from the DDD Design Committee, let them do their design and come back with their, I guess, their final design and their construction bids. And then you go to DDD Board and the City Council.
so it would be more of encouraging them to provide that information at a design phase, so we know, it's more of a, so the design committee and the board knows what's out there and what potentially it could, what the amount could be. Because I think they're right. I don't think the city council is going to approve until they have an actual number. Okay,
Well, could
okay.
it- I mean, could it be all on one thing where you do include maybe some language in there about design review? Because it is an application for,
Yeah, I think
An
that's what I'm
upfront.
saying, is maybe phase it. Maybe the design phase is not mandatory, but encouraged to bring it to us at that point, so we're aware of it. And then the permit phase is mandatory. They have to at least submit it to us by then. Something like that?
that's good.
Usually, I mean, we'll know about it unless it's in the historic district, but they'll have to come to us for our architectural review more than likely anyway. So I think the design phase kind of works in itself one way or another. But I will incorporate all of that in there. And I do know that in order for the building office to know how to interact with this process, because that's kind of another component of this, of implementing the application, we'll just have to make sure that we kind of sit down and is aware of how the process works. So it does, I think the
I
numbers
think
may
you just
get
changed
longer,
that to say
Jeffrey.
total estimated.
But,
Yeah, that's what we talked
I
about.
think the purpose of it is just so that it's written down so that anyone can kind of look at it and know how someone has to put it.
I agree that we need to tell people what to do.
Okay. Any other old business? All right, first item in new business is facade grant. Actually, do we have to amend the agenda?
Yes, so it's an error on my part. A lot of things going on. Basically, last meeting, we reviewed all of the facade grant applications submitted for 203, 205, 207, and 209 were all together. So I had to split them apart, and we could do that. I just got the addresses mixed up, so for our purposes, we need to amend the agenda to approve 209 East Charles, which is basically,
So we need a motion to remove, two motions, to remove approval of facade grant for 203, 205, 207 East Charles Street, and then a motion to add approval of facade grant for 209. Okay.
Also move.
Second.
Can we do that all together? Do they have to be two separate?
let's just do it separately.
Okay.
Chris Davidson, Sarah Bennett,
Yes.
Roy Duper.
Yes.
Sean Luna,
Yes.
Tom Story.
Yes.
Kathy Regan.
Yes.
Jeffrey Smith.
Yes?
Okay, so can I make the motion? Okay, I move that we add under new business approval of facade grant, or review of facade grant for 209 East Charles Street.
Second?
Chris Davidson, Sarah Bennett.
Yes.
Roy Duper.
Yes.
Sean Luna.
Yes.
Tom Story.
Yes.
Kathy Regan.
Yes.
Jeffrey Smith.
Yes?
So,
Now we make a motion to approve it.
Well, we need to look at it.
Two here, isn't it? No, this is,
basically, as presented last time, the total cost amounted to around $10,000.
That's it right there, yeah.
That's the last one, I was thinking. Yeah, all the same. Hmm.
So the work at 209 included an awning, a metal awning, which the cost for 209 was $4,290. And then there's also some additional painting at 209. And we have some color photos here.
I see, maybe I'm just missing it. I see the amount for the awning on the invoice from Awning World. Oh, okay, repainted. I see it right here on 209. So $270 and $4,290.
Did you say metal awning?
Can-
Canvas awning. Okay. I move we approve the application.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Sorry?
Roy?
Chris Bateson, Sarah Bennett,
Yes.
Lori Luther,
Yes.
Michelle Bruno,
Yes.
Lori
Yes.
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 All right, our second item under new business is review of Railroad Park History Exhibit Panel renderings. So we have, so that's actual size, that's how big they'll be up on the table?
We think so. We didn't bring a tape measure, but they're supposed to be 30 by 36, which would, I think, looks like it's pretty close.
Okay, and then you also have
6 by 42.
smaller ones in your packet. And we were taking a look at these prior to the meeting. Have we determined that we like the ones with the larger photographs, fewer number and larger photographs?
That's what we discussed.
Yes.
Recommend that, which would be
Like,
sepia-tone version.
Something more
Yeah.
like that, less like that.
but then we like the dark background.
Yes.
Is that right?
White letters,
Yeah, with white letters, not the sepia.
Okay.
My only question with the dark background is in regards to sun damage. Like, will it fade over time?
These things are called, what is it? High-pressure laminate panels that are apparently used in zoos and signage everywhere that
Okay.
are UV protected because they're kind of sandwiched between these high-pressure laminate panels. So from what I've read and talked with ASI, that was one of our concerns very early. So we should be good.
Yay, that's my only concern then.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking if y'all wanted to just take them outside to look at them, see how they look in natural light, by different.
The X's in front, like the hotel.
That's just
Psych
some,
hotel.
that's just some missing data that
Yeah, well, so.
they have that.
Well, the
It's just-
Psych hotel, I only wanted to point out, was, it's on East Thomas, not West Thomas.
Well, so we had the documentation that they got, we revised it, and basically I kept a lot in there because I anticipated him saying, oh, we can't fit all of this information on one panel. So we decided that the font size was, we went out there, we looked at the font size that you could read by holding it up and standing on top of the back. So it doesn't look like we technically need to remove any text, so all that will be updated and cleaned up. But it is still, it is a lot of information, but I think if people want to know about history, we should give them.
It's there for them if they want to read it. It's been documented.
Yeah, just reading through your sins. I saw several typos and
Yeah.
stuff that need, somebody's gonna wordsmith this, I assume.
Yeah, so we are still in the process of getting the exact photos from the Center for Louisiana Studies, because I wasn't sure how many would fit, but if we like the layout over there, now they can start building in sections where other photos would be. So we just had to pull the exact amount from the center, because we have to pay to use the photos for the admission. So we weren't gonna pull 150 photos when we would only be using maybe 30 or 40 for all the panels.
Did you say you had to pay for the photos?
It's like, it's very nominal. It's
That's from the
just for-
Southeastern Library?
Yes. To reprint, to have permission to reprint them in this way. It's about 50 cents.
Oh, okay. Because I've gotten them before and they never charged me anything, so.
But somebody is going to not just spell check, but
Yes.
read through it. We have,
Yeah, so,
We should do it too.
Unless you have a system you want to follow. I mean, it was just, I didn't want to just respond to that email, but that
yeah,
might be the.
so, now that we've decided on a layout,
Layouts.
I'm gonna go back through, Ashley and I will go back through and just do a really good read. I'm still, there may be one or two panels that we do have too much text, so we may have to have some removed from there. So we'll be working with Antoine and ensuring that the exact text that is going to be on the panels is accurate, complete, and all of those things. So I can send an updated version to you all with those corrections, or if you have corrections, you can send them to me. Just know that there may be a few panels where they may remove some things depending upon, as they put them on there, some text may not fit, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So who's the author of this?
It's a combination of
Our
Three of
committee,
you.
our
So-
railroad
history
exhibit
work group.
Hyde.
There's been a few different hands in it, Jessica Shirey, Seals, Ashley Tarleton, who's the GA at the Center for Southeast Louisiana Studies. Dr. Nichols has read them, Dr. Hyde has read them, and I have written a substantial amount.
No,
Did you say Sam Hyde's reviewed it all too, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's a good job, you've done well.
Kind of lay out our schedule from this point forward, because
Yes, so now that we've decided on our layout, Antoine, when we met with him in June, we kind of said July was our time for our final approval. So now we have our layout decided, we can go ahead and they'll get that prepared between now and next week. And we'll be able to submit for historic district review, which is just the board, later this month. And then Roy is working to firm up the 3 quotes.
yeah, I'll be doing specs and the mounting details and the request for quotations, I guess. We'll have to get 3. So I'll be doing that in the next few weeks in preparation for our actual submittal. I mean, distribution to at least 3 or 4 sign companies to get quotes. We're going to give them 2 or 3 weeks to do that. And then I think it may take 6 weeks, six weeks or so to actually have the panels and the printed and installed. So that's, when is that, like October, November, October?
The earliest I think we would see it is sometime in September, but,
Yeah.
October would kind of be the month where we would celebrate.
Do you have the names of sign companies?
We'll have ASI, we have a local company that may be able to do it. I've got to talk to them and show them the specs. And then someone told me Letterman's, Letterman's in Baton Rouge. I don't know. If y'all know of any others.
They've done stuff for us.
Okay, yeah. Mary Pito gave me their name. So those are the 3 I have right now. If any of y'all, like, if you know anybody
The
or
local one is Gulf Coast, is that the Gulf Coast signs and?
here, I don't remember,
Are
what
they
I think
local?
it was a local,
We talked about someone that had done a lot of gas stations and car dealerships. I don't remember.
Gulf Coast signs.
I have to look it up.
Okay.
We have it written down.
make a note of that.
Well, is Speedway is local. I don't know if they do that, this kind of type of stuff, but.
Almost corner of Corbin and
Gulf Coast sign.
Yeah.
I'll just call Brian.
Yeah, call him. See
Yeah,
if
there's
they
also
can-
arms signs, I don't know if they can do it or
Who?
not. Arms?
That's the other one I had. Is that local?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other one we had
Arms,
local.
that's it.
Skipper Burke's company.
Yeah. We were talking earlier before the meeting, I'll have to just follow up with a couple of phone calls, as, just make sure they can do those kind of high-pressure laminate panels, and if that's great. I'd love to see a local company get it.
Yeah, you know, the big historic mural we have in the Balsell building, that was from.
All of that was printed.
Arms did that.
Okay.
One
Is
last thing.
orange
Did
damage?
SI quote
Damage.
for the metal frame as well? Or
Yes.
do you have to go with what they did?
Mhm. We're gonna have an aluminum frame around it that kind of, and that frame will be mounted to that's how they recommended it being done. The frame gets mounted and this slides into the frame.
And then that gets mounted to the wall.
And the frame will probably be black? Was it because of the light fixtures of the benches? Kind of a black powder coated aluminum frame.
Okay.
Okay. Next item is director's report.
So very quickly. So there was I guess, architectural review that did not make it to us. 173 Avenue. We did get notification that there was a demolition permit earlier this year, but, so at that point, and that had already been issued. So at that point, I asked them to let us know when building permits would be released, when they had a conceptual design. And unfortunately, that didn't happen for one reason or another. So I put this on here just to kind of update you all. I do have some of the renderings.
What was the address again, I'm sorry?
1706, where is that?
That's behind Jimmy John's. So this was the.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Vacant for years. They.
Anything would have been an improvement to that building.
Yeah.
You know what he's talking about, Tom?
Oh, yeah.
What was that?
Oh, yeah. But I think they were gonna wrap it, the corner in glass or storefront, at least the rendering.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Looks like
But
all
they haven't
the
done it
plastic.
yet.
That was Jimmy Stars, wasn't
There's the Google thing I can't get
Yeah.
into.
I think, Jeffrey, you'd have to have a Gmail account. But you
think you
guys
do.
probably don't have that as a side account.
Maybe it's some other kind of process.
And I can't even remember my password, but so look it up.
So.
Yeah, it's gonna look a lot better.
I've already spoken with the property
Something you do?
manager for
Mm-mm,
other
not
reasons,
me.
and then we wound up discussing
I never
this,
did.
but
I
there
met with
will be
Lewis this
8
Friday.
units
Yeah.
available.
Let's see.
Did he see it?
They'll have one sort of flagship
Was he there
development on the
Yes.
corner. And
I'm old friends with him. I know
they'll
him.
be moving really soon. So I know that last time we did a post review
Look at this.
for one of the projects, and
We're getting ready to get
I
a survey
didn't
done.
know if
And the
they
elevations.
felt inclined to do a post review of this for an architectural review. I just wanted to ask you all that.
This is what it was supposed to look like, and the photograph you showed is what their interpretation of that design was?
So this is what it currently looks like.
Wait, say what?
Or this is what it looks like.
Yeah, that's what's
Where-
currently,
Where's the other?
Existing, huh?
Okay, so they haven't done their work yet.
they're in the process of
Yeah,
it.
they're doing it.
They're doing it, okay.
And
The
then
changes look like
Yeah,
that right
it's
now.
just
It's
framed up,
brick
but-
and it's got like
I
a
kinda agree.
balcony
Anything they do be
thing
better than what
facing
it
the
is.
front.
I noticed it, but I didn't think this, wait, did we approve that? I didn't even think about that aspect of it. Just know that.
Right there, hold it there for a second. So the only thing, is there a way to zoom in on that, the side? See, it appears like they haven't cut in for storefront yet, like for that right there. Unless that's coming.
Okay.
But I like the canopy extension, it kind of accentuates.
It just needs to be put into commerce. It's been sitting there unoccupied for years.
I don't know that it's ever been
Been for
occupied.
different,
No,
10 years.
It was never occupied.
The only way he
Didn't
made money
Jimmy
was just
Starr build that
filing for
originally?
loss
Yeah.
every year, huh?
You still own it?
I don't know. I doubt it.
There's some new owners now. I think that they either renovated the physician's place across the street, or maybe they built hers. Well, I can't remember. But Harley, I spoke with her on the phone. She said that they are, it's changed hands and they're excited to bring it back around.
Good. Harley,
Carly, what's the name?
well, that's one of the owners you're talking about?
No, she's basically one of the property there. She works for the.
Oh, okay, okay.
Um,
Well, I mean, how can we get the city to recognize the DDD district when they're issuing permits?
Carly Gregory, on the it's a consistent process.
But the DDD's been around since 1986. So
Yes,
you'd
it's
think they would know
training
by
of
now.
staff who are
It's, they turn over staff so much.
They're working on
Last 2
an
years.
integrated system where the flagging works. The system right now, the flagging doesn't work. I think they've prioritized the historic district first, and then they'll move on to the DD. But the IT improvements, the city just recently updated their financial software, so there's other software updates coming, and that's part of some that's honestly been discussed for years, and I don't know why it has taken so long, but what it boils down to is me just, and talking with the folks at the building permit office.
Well,
Well, they're
there-
changing hands over there, right?
Yeah, there's been
Yeah.
a lot
A
of
lot of
change
turnover.
at the permit office as well. So it's, you educate or bring it to the knowledge of one person, and then they leave, and then you've got to start all over again. So hopefully, the software updates would do the best thing, because then when somebody applies, it pops up and nobody has to guess. So,
Well, I mean, if you need, after the fact approval, I like the, so the big improvement. So if we want to just say, we like it, but bad boy. I don't know.
I mean, so do you want to require that they come here and present this project to us? I feel like it's an inconvenience.
At this point?
At this point. And since we've already seen it,
why don't we just note for the record that you brought it to our attention, you gave us the information that you could pull together, and that from what you presented, we are positive about the change, but concerned that it didn't get flagged by the city and come to us before a permit was.
Yes.
Did they give you anything color? I mean, I guess it did kind of look like color, but do we need them to submit any color or anything? I guess we don't need to get that detailed.
Well, I mean, that's
like historic.
That's a possibility of it
Just say,
getting
let us
that
put it on
fact
file.
Approval, is that you got to come before with the colors.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think it is this white and black kind of scheme.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks fine from here, I guess, but I'm just thinking of something that they could give you for the file to make it like, well, that's why we need to do this, it's important.
Yes, you could reach out to them. If these are the colors they're going to use, then it's okay.
Yeah.
But if they're going to deviate from what what we've seen, that they need to come in and present.
Right, if it changes from what we.
And just maybe, make sure they're aware of whatever, what our requirements are. Yeah. Did the car wash start? The car wash started construction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but they're not out of the ground yet. The ones I've seen, I know, we kind of flagged them on the metallic.
The chrome.
Yeah, the ones I've seen all have that chrome.
Yeah.
We're gonna be the only ones with like a matte finish.
We're gonna have to make sure.
That's
Yeah.
good too.
So,
Check their submittals, huh?
I need to go back and take a look, but I think I may have asked Andre about this one because, I think Ron Mafuso actually called the office and he said, "What's up with the design committee?"
Could hear them.
So.
He also called our office, so.
Right, well, sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't say that specifically, but he
Wait a minute, you're saying our approval is not required? It's just a recommendation?
The UDC
That's
says
not-
that the design committee is a review and recommendation, not approval. And
What is the ordinance, though?
that's what the
You-
ordinance says.
No, there's a DED ordinance separate from the UDC. What does it say? Because when the design committee was formed,
With everything that I looked at with Andre, it was all review and recommendation.
The ordinance should override the UDC, right? Shouldn't the ordinance
the
come
ordinance
because
applies
it's
to
local?
UDC.
Or becomes.
Included in the UDC.
We have guidelines, and the guidelines say no, what was it, metallic?
I don't think it was metallic, it was something about the, it was the chrome.
Reflectivity.
Yeah.
Something like
Because
that.
I think there was even mentioned that they could do like, if it was like a shiny black or something like that, it just couldn't be that mirror where it's reflecting.
The only thing with that is that that's kind of like one of their staple materials, you know what I mean? It's like part of the image, so, I mean, we voted against it, but I just wonder.
Yeah, but I mean, if we don't have teeth, what's the point? I mean, we have to be able
That's
to
true.
say you can't do that
Right.
in our
We could
district.
turn it into
You know,
that.
that's.
But it's a local guy.
So Andre recommended that we not enforce that? Michelle?
From my conversation with Andre, he said the design committee's purview was review and recommendation.
Well, then why are we here?
Huh? Yeah,
I don't have that.
I don't believe that's
We
correct.
addressed.
as long as we still get
I
our
don't have-
paychecks. huh?
With that particular one, I don't have that in writing, but we had addressed the scope of the design committee and to what extent the city, we had addressed the bounds of the design committee at a certain point in time, I think at the time of our orientation. And that came up at that point in time as well. But I can revisit it and get something in writing.
Can we ask him to come to our next meeting?
I think they should come and
Yeah.
Go before the
recommend.
board, right?
If they do something different, at least.
No, come here and talk to us about it. Y'all don't want him?
Well, that's fine. Just-
I think they should come do it.
I mean, I
and we
just
should
wonder, it's
recommend-
like, well,
we should
why
make
are
a
we even-
recommendation, so we're on, at least on record that we've
Mhm.
done our job.
Yeah.
So we don't have anybody come in, well, why'd y'all let that approval? We recommended they not do it, but they did it
I
anyway.
mean, I assume the city council can override any decision that we make, but I thought we had the authority to deny an application.
Well, the
Didn't
historic
meet the
district,
standards.
historic certainly does,
Yeah,
don't they?
it does, yeah.
This isn't in historic.
I know, but if they, I mean, we should be equal.
We just have to read the ordinance again and see what it says. I can't.
Let's take a look at that
She might be getting close to.
when you have time, Michelle. Let's review it, and if you can find what Andre said, then we'll talk about it, and we'll decide if he needs to come to the next meeting or whatever. But yeah, I think we do need to be clear on what can and cannot do.
And if we have the authority to say no.
Right. Anything else, Michelle?
There's just two more things. So, just an update on the capital outlay request for lighting was not funded. There was one other project that was funded for Hammond related to sewage improvements.
There it is.
And then the city was awarded $25,000 from AARP for the renovation of Morrison Park. This is very new, just within the past couple of weeks. So I've already met with Charles. He's asked us about just some thoughts and collaborating on what the renovation would look like. But he is preparing basically an application that would be presented to the historic district because it's based in the historic district. So if you have any, I guess, ideas about it, we want to come to us because it's in the historic district. If you would like for it to be presented to us, you can ask if you do that, I'm sure you would mind. But generally, the scope of the space is to clean it up, expand out the seating options a little bit more, and AARP is, accessible living for people at all stages of life. And so, access, ADA, all that kind of stuff is kind of what's being incorporated there. So probably a little bit of hardscaping, some updated seating, some updated signage, and just kind of freshening it up a little bit.
You talking about the area under the live oak tree right there?
Yes.
With all the parking behind it, just that little area right there?
Came in small.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I didn't know it needed any, it looks fine to me. I mean, why did they think they needed more? There's so many other areas that need help. Anyway, that's fine.
Maybe if it's going to be presented to historic, if we know the date, if you could share that, and anybody who wants to attend could attend just to see what they have in mind.
Yeah, I personally think any improvements in the historic district or the DDD, that we should at least see what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems to be the section, but I can't find it.
Y'all ready to adjourn?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
I so move.
Second.
Are they ever gonna fix the roundabout out there?